Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here. We're going to look at some books that help defend the King James Version of the Bible. Lord willing, eventually we'll go through each of these books and do reviews on them. But right now I'm just going to give you like several books. You may have these, you may not have all these. Defending the King James Version of the Bible by D.A. Waite. D.A. Waite's the founder of the Bible for Today. He has 2 PhDs, one from Dallas, one from the University of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, classical Latin, classical Greek. He is certainly well qualified to talk about that, biblical things. And so he would go into the fourfold superiority of the King James Version of the Bible, its text, its transmission, the translators, and so forth. So that is a really good book, Dr. D.A. Waite, Defending the King James Version of the Bible. Another one that I dearly love because it has so many facts in it is Crowned with Glory by Thomas Holland. I think regardless, he had a non-KJV person write the foreword because it is just so objective and just presents facts. But he would come, like on the Dead Sea Scrolls, fantastic. He's got information on the Dead Sea Scrolls I've never found anywhere else, any publication. And so, just so objective with his facts, I think you would find that fascinating. He talks about Erasmus. He thinks he had some sources for the last 6 verses of Revelation that's interesting there. Forever Settled by Jack Mormon. Now, Mormon's got several books, 8,000 differences between the Byzantine text, majority text. And let me just say this. I had somebody write me the other day and say, well, you hesitated between the majority text, the Byzantine text, Textus Receptus, you know they're different, you left them all together. And I tried to explain all that of course von Soden looked at 421 different manuscripts, called it the majority text. We know it's not the majority text. We know there's differences in that Hodges Farstad text and the Textus Receptus. But so often it boils down to majority text, which they are referring to, the Textus Receptus or the Byzantine text or the Antiochian text, whatever you want to call it, and the Alexandrian text, which is no set text actually. It's just, you've got the Washington Codex, you've got Alexandrinus Codex, you've got Sinaiticus, you've got Vaticanus, which have enormous differences within the Codex C internally that they don't. So there's no real Alexandrian text because these things disagree within themselves, and the papyri disagree. I've got copies of, at the time, every Greek papyri that has ever been discovered before 300 AD that pertains to the Bible. I've got photostatic copies of those, as they say. They're reproductions in a book by Philip Comfort and the early manuscripts and all this. So don't get hung up just because of precision of language and you're trying to find fault and all that. Just pray through, talk in tongues. It helps. That's the spirit of truth. But Forever Settled by Jack Mormon. He's got, again, great books. Not just Forever Settled. I've seen Forever Settled, though, convert people to the King James view. He's a graduate of Indiana Bible College. Not that Indiana Bible College. It's a Baptist college there in the city of Indiana. But does a lot of work in the UK. Just a great scholar, very meticulous, very voluminous. So I would highly recommend his book, Forever Settled. He's also got the AV quotes in the early church fathers, so to speak, where he goes and shows every church father from the earliest times and how many times they would quote the Byzantine, Antiochian, Textus Receptus, blah, blah, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. So God bless you. And then David Otis Fuller has 3 books, True or False, Counterfeit or Genuine, or Which Bible, which is his most famous. Now, David Otis Fuller, brilliant man, Princeton graduate. And this is a compilation of people like Robert Dick Wilson and Philip Morrow and others where they all show the primacy and the supremacy of the King James Version of the Bible. So I would highly recommend any of those. I'll repeat that. True or False, Counterfeit or Genuine, and Which Bible. He's actually got a tract out. He pastored Wealthy Street Baptist up in Grand Rapids, and he also did the Children's Bible Hour for many decades. That was over 600 radio stations and that type of thing. So he was a mainstream guy. Where 4 Greek scholars left the Alexandrian non-majority Nestle's Island text, United Bible Society's text, and again, you know what I'm talking about, and became King James guys. Edward F. Hills, the KJV Defended and Believing Bible Study. Edward Freer Hills, he had a doctorate from Harvard University in New Testament textual criticism. So these 2 books, again, are authoritative and meticulous. I think you would enjoy those. And then Final Authority by William Grady, voluminous. Now, he is more of a researcher. He's not necessarily learned in Hebrew and Greek so much, but he brings a lot of information to bear on this. And William Dean Burgon wrote several books. I would recommend anything by William Dean Burgon on the scriptures, because again, he was the antithesis of Westcott and Hort, and he was far more learned than Westcott and Hort. He just brought so much information to bear, and many people who criticize him, I'm sure, have never read his stuff. They just read what people wrote about him, some negative things and all of this type thing. So Dean Burgon, also David Cloud has several books that don't want to get into specifics, but Faith versus Modern Bible Versions is one, but several, and they are incredible. His history of textual criticism is unparalleled to my knowledge. And so again, he's just a good missionary to Nepal, but he's got a massive library. He spent many tens of thousands of dollars buying original resources, and he's fantastic on that subject as well. And there's a website, the Fundamentalist Bible Society has a website. I'm thinking that's not the exact name, but it's something about fundamentals out of Southern California. Just get on that. Sword of the Lord's got some good resources on that. But I just want to give you some resources, and our good friends over at KJBapostolics.com. KJBapostolics.com doing a great job. They've also got some fantastic free resources that, because they just want to see the truth get out. Steve Smart, one of the guys, I'm going to do a book review, God willing, on one of his books. Tremendous book about they trim their lamps. And so anyhow, just keep praying, studying, believe the truth. Talk with you later.